Welcome to Subramani.com. I'm going to talk to you about decades of compounding. And once you read Malcolm Gladwell, you realize that you get obsessed about saying, what have I done for 10,000 hours? Two things which I've definitely done for 10,000 hours is eating and sleeping. And I'm sure I must be awesome at that. I think, that's the only thing which I've done for such a long time. But then I thought and said, haven't I invested for that much time? And the answer is yes. 1979 is when I started. It became more a fun activity. The chartered accountancy degree and the training as a lawyer and doing costing and company secretaries helped on the way. Whether I never practiced as anything other than a chartered accountant, and that was a very short life. But yes, these things helped, and in the long run it helps the fact that you speak to many promoters and you realize their own attitude towards money, whether they'll suck money out of the company, whether they will give it back to you. All this you learn on the way. So I have, let's put it this way, 1979, which makes it about 41 year. This is the 41st year of investing. I started training people in 2002 commercially. Before that, I used to do small training sessions for our whole office, right? How to do the settlements and how to deal with the banks, etc., etc. But it was not commercial in the sense, yeah, we had a staff of 10, 12 people who had to be instructed. So, yes, some of those things. But commercially or charging a fee for training is something which I started in 2001 or 2002. And so that's 2 decades of that, and I started cycling and running. Don't look at me that way. Yes, I've been running and cycling, and it's been doing nothing for the last 2 months, and that has also been a decade. So then I realized that anything requires tremendous amount of time and commitment, in the sense that if you want to do it well, if you want to do it, it's become like second nature to me. I never feel that I'm talking about equity shares and I'm wasting time, and why am I doing it at 9 a.m., why am I doing it at 9 p.m., why am I doing it at 5 a.m. I can do it all day long. Talking about investing is a complete pleasure. It's my ikigai, and I can really talk to 22-year-olds with same enthu as talking to a 85-year-old who's been in the markets for a few decades. So it becomes fun. Then you don't look at it as to how much time you're spending on that. You get better and better because of experience. You get better and better because you maintained a diary and you wrote down what the mistakes you made, right? A blog is very useful, which it records all my mistakes, all the things that I've done in the past, which some good, bad, ugly. As long as the good, bad are far greater than the ugly ones, life is good. But remember, compounding works everywhere, whether it is experience, whether it is your diet, whether it is your investing. So even if you have invested in your diet, in the sense that you observe what you're eating and you're very clear about what you're eating, and you know that what it is, this food is going to do for you, right? So exactly the same thing is what you should be doing even in your investing. You should know why you're investing, what you're investing, and give it lot of time, give it compounding effect. Once you do all that, you create good wealth, you did create good health, and that's what you set out to do, right? Thank you. I should be calling this the Decades of Compounding Part 2. I said, I've got 40 years of investing experience. So let me just quickly summarize the learnings from it. One, you don't need academic brilliance. You need basic intelligence. You don't need to be brilliant. Yes, if you're brilliant and you understand better, but I've known India's top two investors, I will not name them. Let's say both are chartered accountants. One is a rank holder and one is a guy who passed after 3 attempts. So does it take away from the fact that a person who's taken 3 attempts is not as brilliant as the other guy? Actually, it makes no difference. Both have their own styles, both have made a lot of money, and I'm not getting into what their names are. So, right, so academic brilliance helps, but academic brilliance not being there should not stop you from creating wealth for yourself in the long run. Meeting smart and brilliant people is always useful. Absolutely, their ability to understand, and that way I should thank my clients. So, because I've been to the Supreme Court and the High Courts of various parts of the country. I've been to Indore, I've been to Chennai, I've been to Mumbai, of course, been to Delhi, all these high courts. You meet some of the sharpest legal brains, and they're really brilliant, right? If I have to point out one person whom I met who was brilliant, it would be unfair to name one, so let me name two. Ram Jethmalani and Justice J.C. Shah. If you're old enough to remember the Shah Commission, which went into seeing what Indira Gandhi's excesses were, right? That J.C. Shah. These are two guys, both from the legal field, absolutely brilliant. You just had to tell the P of your problem, and the solution would be there with you. I mean, I met many lawyers, right? Many practicing lawyers, including many who are alive today. I met K.K. Venugopal, I met Fali Nariman. It's not to say that these are guys are not brilliant, but if I have to give you one name which stands out, it had to be Ram Jethmalani and maybe J.C. Shah, but Ram Jethmalani even above that, right? You don't have to be something special to make money in the market. You don't need godfathers, right? Shah Rukh Khan made a career for himself in the same film industry where people with godfathers struggle. Ditto for equity markets. People who are today with net worth of 10,000 crores plus, most of them have created almost all the wealth by themselves. Some with listing, some without listing, right? That's not funny, that's huge. Some of our fund managers have created that much kind of wealth for themselves and much more wealth for their investors, right? So they have created wealth. I mean, Deepak Parekh is another name which comes to mind, saying, I don't know whether that man is brilliant, but the kind of wealth he has created in terms of upwards of 100 billion US dollars is not something small, right? As to be a good investor, the CA degree is extremely useful, and I'm not saying it is the only degree which is useful. I'm sure an engineering degree mapped with an MBA could be useful, but if you want to make you're investing your career and you're young and you're 15, 16 and your dad or mom has asked you to look at this video, believe me, the best degree to get is the chartered accountant's degree. Go and get the CA degree. In the meanwhile, if you also get your CFA degree, that's great. Beyond that, you don't need, but if you must, then go and get an MBA. Preferably get it from some university abroad. If you can't get into the top ones in India, don't do an also ran MBA after doing your CA. Either you go to IIM Ahmedabad, go to ISB, I mean, when I say IIM, I mean Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, Kolkata, however. So the old ones, XLRI should be good, right? So go somewhere, learn the skills, meet good, smart, intelligent people. If you don't get into some of the top ones, maybe going abroad might make sense, but that depends on your budget. But a degree is always useful. You have to be smart enough to coordinate between tax consultants, lawyers, etc., etc. So having a good tax-based tax knowledge makes sense. You understand what it is to have book losses, unbook losses, carry forward losses, set on, set off, the clubbing provisions. You need to understand all that, especially if you're going to be in the advisory space. If you're just going to be a good investor, none of the tax provisions don't matter. You earn money, you pay short-term capital gain. You earn money after a long time, you pay long-term capital gain, and you pay income tax on dividends. That's not very difficult to understand. But yes, you can understand some of the shenanigans of what Indian promoters do for taxation. It's always nice to know. I have nothing against Indian promoters, because if you have to deal with the government of India, you need to be an Indian promoter. You can't be a very trusting person and then suddenly be shocked by the kind of things that the government is capable of doing, right? What you are, where you are, all that depends and all that defines your luck. We underplay the role of luck. If I had not stayed with the good Jews of Ghatkopar, I would have still been working in some PSU bank as a vice president or general manager, whatever constantly obsessed about मेरा बैंक बंद हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा, constant worry. I would have done that. So my father shifting to a better location, completely better location, I would say, from an investment point of view, uh, that helped, and that was luck. Make more friends than enemies, because friends are going to help you. When you have friends, friends will do businesses, you will benefit by their businesses. Go and meet their people. Some of the best brains today working in the investment fields are way younger than me. They must be in their 20s or at best in their 30s, and there is amazing amount of learning that I can learn from them, especially when I'm sitting with them and seeing them raise funds. It's amazing some of the amount of the money that some of these kids can raise. Somebody trusts them on their Excel sheet and their passion to put 20 crores, 30 crores. I think it's amazing. I have never tried anybody to invest into my business, but I thought that was amazing. In my whole career, I must have met upwards of 5,000 doctors and 20,000 IFAs, and common men should be at least 10,000. I filed IT returns, I've done investment planning, I've given advice. Now I'm just into blogging and training. I do 2-3 types of training, and that's about all. So choose your clients smartly. Make sure that you don't have bad debts. It's the worst thing that can happen. Take care of your health. Be obsessed about your health. Be obsessed about what you eat. Don't look at me that way. I have no control over what I eat. So yes, you will also have, going forward, you will have decades of commitment. You will constantly be looking at what you want to improve at. So at this age, what do I want to improve at? I want to be smarter while eating. I have to be better while exercising. I have to be better at keeping in touch with people. I want to simplify my portfolio. Yes, I will have my equity portfolio. My equity portfolio is going to be another 10-12 years by the time I'll shift to an index fund, simply because as a person ages, the ability to understand and manage complexity will keep reducing, right? So 70, 72, 75, whatever be the age at which you want to simplify your portfolio, or you find somebody who's going to manage it, younger kid, older kid, whoever, your kid is going to manage, you trust the kid anyway, so sit with the kid, teach, and do that, or find a friend's kid. Anything is perfectly possible. So do all those things, have your decades of commitment. I can talk about this today after 4 decades in the investment field. One day when you have 4 or 5 decades in the investment field, you will look back, make sure you look back proudly. Thank you.